What is going on YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today let's talk about Sandy Shock's the prehistoric dinosaur magneton, the Magnosaur. It is an electric ground type, which means we have a full-on immunity to electric. We have 4 resistances to flying, poison, rock, and steel, and we have 4 weaknesses to grass, ground, ice, and water. As a Paradoxmon, we have a base stat total of 570 points, which breaks down to being 85 HP, 81 attack, 97 defense, 121 special attack, 85 special defense, and 101 speed. So you can play this as a fast special attacking sweeper. Now, as a Paradoxmon, we only have the Protosynthesis ability, which is basically fine because we get a 30% boost into whatever our most proficient stat is. Unless that stat is speed, then we get a full-on 50% boost. That's pretty nice, especially if you want to play this as a fast sweeper. And unlike some Paradoxmons and their modern-day counterparts, Sandy Shocks and Magnezone play out very differently. So with Magnezone's electric steel typing, there's a lot more resistances there. We have 9 regular resistances. We have 2 4 times resistances. We have 1 full-on immunity. And then we only have 2 regular weaknesses and 1 4 times weakness. So, why Sandy Shocks over Magnezone? Well, for one, we're faster. You can basically look at your team and then decide if you want to go for a faster playstyle, go with Sandy Shocks. If you want to go with a slower style, go with Magnezone. Now, the other big thing too is Sandy Shocks has ground type stab. Your Magnezone counterpart has a 4 times weakness to ground. So, if your opponent hasn't terastalized Magnezone, or if they've terastalized something else, Trick Room's not on the field, you're going to be going faster than that Magnezone, and barring the idea of them having an air balloon, you could probably one-hit KO it with an Earth Power. So that is pretty nice. The other thing too is Sandy Shocks does technically have a higher base stat total than Magnezone. We have 570 points. Magnezone has 535 points total. And the way how Magnezone breaks down, we have 70 HP, 70 attack, 115 defense, 130 special attack, 90 special defense, and 60 speed. Now, I do want to make something clear too. This isn't bashing on Magnezone. This is just, I just want to build up Sandy Shocks here because, you know, it's Zappy Dirt. It's the Magnesaur. It's a fun Pokemon. Both of these things can be really good, and depending on how you want to build your team, you can go with either or. But just keep that in mind. You can use Sandy Shocks as a means of dealing with Magnezone, so long as they don't terastalize into something that can give you a hard time. So let's jump into the first idea that I was thinking for Sandy Shocks. So I was thinking choice item, either choice specs or choice scarf, with a combination of Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Earth Power, and Power Gem. Now, what I was mainly thinking here, Thunderbolt and Earth Power are our main stab options here, regardless if we're running choice specs or choice scarf. Those are going to be most likely our main 2 moves, and we can go with either Terra Electric or Terra Ground for these. Volt Switch here is more or less just there for a pivoting option, especially if we're running choice scarf. Basically, we can hit and run if your opponent has something on the field that Sandy Shocks doesn't like, especially if that thing isn't a lightning rod user. You can use Volt Switch to get out of there, do some moderately decent chip damage, and then bring in something to deal with whatever's threatening Sandy Shocks, and then Sandy Shocks can come back in later. The other thing too is you could also run Discharge instead of Thunderbolt, depending on if you want to have a spread option. So you could just do that, trade a little bit of power between Thunderbolt's base 90 with Discharge's base 80. Now you can hit both opponents on the field. Maybe you're running a ground type next to Sandy Shocks as well, or a Telepathy Mon. Now you don't have to worry about hitting your partner as well. You could do that, or you could just go for the stronger option with Thunderbolt with the base 90 and 100% accuracy for a single target attack. And you have that Volt Switch there as a pivoting option too. So you could run either Thunderbolt or Volt Switch. Maybe you want to be insane. Maybe you want to run Thunder on this set and go for the full-on max power at the cost of accuracy. You could do that too. Now, with the final move on this set with being Power Gem, this one's a little bit of a toss-up because you could run this between Power Gem or Flash Cannon there. Rock and Steel both complement Electric and Ground, really good for coverage. If we jump into PokemonDB.net, this is what you basically hit with Electric and Ground. So this is as if we have the Thunderbolt and the Earth Power on here. We have 5 no effects, we have 105 not very effectives, 529 normal effectives, and 553 super effective. Well, if we slap Power Gem on there with Rock, we have 0 no effects, we have 8 not very effectives, we have 499 normal effectives, and we have 685 super effectives. Now, if we take Power Gem out, throw Flash Cannon in there, it breaks down to 1 no effect, which is Shedinja, which isn't in Scarlet and Violet as of right now, so it should be fine. We have 0 not very effectives, then we have 533 normal effectives, and 658 super effectives. Now you could run this without Volt Switch and go Thunderbolt, Earth Power, Flash Cannon, and Power Gem, and if you do that, basically we go to 453 normal effectives and 739 super effectives. So you could do something like that. What I was thinking too, as far as EVs and IVs go, we could try to play that up with Choice Specs and Photosynthesis and try to synergize with the two of them there. We go with the Choice Specs here to get that 50% boost into our special attack. And then we have maybe, like, say, a Sunny Day user, whether they're a Prankster or a Drought Setter like Torkoal. We get the Sun on the field. We get a speed boost with our max investment Timid Sandy Shocks here for a breakdown of 168 speed. And we have 204 special attacking EVs into special attack, so that we're literally 1 point under our speed, so that we'll get that speed nature, or that speed boost, instead of an additional special attacking one. Now, we could reverse that too. We could also take that out, increase our max special attack, and switch this to a Choice Specs. Or not Choice Specs, sorry, Choice Scarf. We could do that. We could switch it to Choice Scarf. Now we'll still get the speed boost guaranteed, and we're going to get basically a Life Orb boost added on top of our special attack. We could do something like that for a choice item, Sandy Shocks. Another option I was thinking of too is we could use Sandy Shocks on a Rain team, and we could go with maybe, say, Terra Electric or Terra Grass, and go from there. What I was thinking here is we can go for Electric for the full-on power boost if we wanted to, because what I was thinking is, in Rain, Thunder can't miss, so now we don't have to worry about that 70% accuracy, and if we go Terra Electric, we're getting double our Electric type stab. Now we're at 220 on Thunder. We have Earth Power for our generic coverage to hit things that don't necessarily like, or rather, we can use the Earth Power to hit things that don't mind taking Thunder, actually. Like maybe we have like a Steel type there that's either resistant to Electric or just full-on immune to Electric. We have Earth Power to hit that. And the reason too why I was thinking maybe Terra Grass is if we're going to go with the Rain, now we're weakening Fire's power. We're now immune to Spore. We're immune to other powder moves like Rage Powder. We can get that immunity too. But I kind of like the idea of going Terra Electric for the raw power. So basically, we have Thunder for max damage with Terra Electric. We have Earth Power to hit things that don't mind taking that Thunder. Finally, we have Gravity on Sandy Shocks for this moveset. This is something that I was thinking of too, because maybe we don't necessarily have Rain on the field, and we want to try to make Thunder's accuracy a little bit better. Basically, what Gravity does is it removes ground type immunities between Levitate Mons and Flying types, and it also increases accuracy by 1.6 times. So looking at that accuracy, now you're increasing that 70 up by 1.67. That works out to be roughly 116. So you're now over 100% accuracy on your Thunder, and it also synergizes nicely because maybe your opponent has like a Levitate Mon that's gone Terra Fire like Hydreigon. Now you can hit it with Earth Power for super effective damage. Maybe they have a Flying Steel type. Yeah, Corviknight's in the game. I had to think for that for a second there. I was mostly thinking about Skarmory and Celesteela, but neither one of those are currently available. So you can do that too. You can use gravity to remove that flying type immunity or that levitate immunity to ground, and then you can hit things with earth power. But if you wanted to, you could also go, say, maybe flash cannon. You can go maybe power gem. Maybe you want volt switch. You don't necessarily have to run gravity, but you could run gravity. Another thing too is that accuracy boost is kind of nice because Sandy Shocks does get access to both Metal Sound and Screech, which they're both sound moves, so basically they lower the target's special defense or physical defense by 2, depending on which one you're using. You could maybe synergize that with Throat Spray to get a special attack boost after you do it, and if Gravity's on the field, well, now that's going to be hitting a little bit more reliably, but the problem there is now you're kind of like having a little bit of a combination of problems between status to damaging move ratio, and you suffer from four move syndrome where you can only run the 4 moves. So you'd have to either cut, protect, thunder, or earth power to run one of those 2 moves. So that could be a little bit of a clunky problem. You could get around that too by like maybe say using Bronzong with gravity instead, because Bronzong does get it too. So just some food for thought there. Some other notable moves too that Sandy Shocks does get. It does get body press, so you could go body press and iron defense, so you could get a quick +2 defense boost into Sandy Shocks, then you can go for body press for some fighting type damage. Then that way you're not just necessarily limited to your special attack. Now, one big thing to note though is Magnezone does have the better physical defense, so you could run body press on Magnezone. I'm pretty sure it might even get iron defense too. Let's just take a quick look there. Yeah, it does. So maybe you could do that too, but that's another option for maybe thinking about whether or not you want to run Magnezone or Sandy Shocks into the team. You could do something like that. Sandy Shocks also gets Reflect and Light Screen as well. So basically you can provide a little bit of longevity to your team by having physical and special defense. You could do that. You could go Reflect and Light Screen with a Light Clay. You're a 101 speed, which is pretty nice too, because now you're getting a moderately reliable screen up before your opponent, so long as they're not going for something faster than you or Prankster. So you could do something like that. You get access to Thunder Wave, which is nice too, because you can paralyze the target. You also get Eerie Impulse, so you can cut your opponent's special attack by 2, so long as they don't have the Clear Amulet on one of their mons, or so long as they don't have the Clear Body ability. You could do something like that there too. Let's see, is there anything else there for Sandy Shocks right quick before? It gets Magnetic Flux, but that's kind of useless on this. Because, you know, we don't get access to plus or minus, and there's not many plus or minus mons in the game at the moment. We get access to Sunny Day. We also get access to Electric Terrain and Electro Ball too, and we get Charge Beam. So here's the thing with these. Electric Terrain can be nice because that can prevent your team from being put to sleep. And if you're playing this as a combination of Paradox Mons between Scarlet and Violet, you could use Sandy Shocks to set up Electric Terrain for one of your Violet Paradox Mons. Maybe you're using, like, say, Iron Hands, or maybe even Iron Valiant or Iron Bundle. You could do that. You could set up the Electric Terrain for them, and then that way they can then get their Quark Drive activated. Charge Beam, that can give you a 70% chance to raise your own special attack one stage. That could be kind of nice. Electro Ball could be good with a Choice Scarf set, maybe, because, you know, the faster you are than the opponent, the more damage you do with Electro Ball. So maybe if you have a Choice Scarf on Sandy Shocks, or maybe if you're just running Tailwind, you might be able to do some pretty good damage with Electro Ball there too. Anyways, guys, that's my main thoughts on Sandy Shocks and, to a slight extent, Magnezone. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you've used Sandy Shocks in any practice matches, by all means. Maybe in previous games you used Magnezone or even, say, Magneton. Let me know what you think, whether you like them better than Sandy Shocks, or maybe if you like Sandy Shocks better. I really like this thing. It's the Magnezar. It's a cool Pokemon. I will see you later.